Hello there. Just checking in again, once again. Getting ready here to do oil change on a 2014 Toyota Sienna. I'm just checking in right now. Checking all the fluids. Looks like everything's good, but I'm about to get this van up on some ramps, as you can see right here. The weather's permitting right now. It's not too cold, and it's not raining right now, so that's good. So I'm gonna be using some ramps to do that, but please keep in mind that aside from that, I'm also going to be using some jack stands. Okay, safety is number one. There's a lot of people out there who have been working underneath cars, who ordinarily only use a jack. That's a big mistake because we don't know when that jack's going to give out. So we have to be very cautious and mindful. I'll be getting this van onto those ramps, and then I'm going to start the process. But after I put those jacks, not the jacks, I'm sorry, the towers underneath the van, I'm also going to put something behind one of the wheels here. So kind of like a stopper in a sense, because I don't want this thing to roll backwards. Okay, I don't solely rely on the emergency brake because we don't know if that is defective or whatever. Precaution and safety is number one. Okay, obviously, as you know, I do have Mobile 0W20. This is the type of oil that this vehicle takes in. This is a 6-cylinder vehicle, so this one only has 5 quarts, so you may need to either purchase a smaller 1 quart at the store, or you may just decide that you're going to go ahead and get 5 quarts, because let's be honest, 1 quart's going to cost you about $6 or $7, sometimes even $9. This thing goes around for like $22, somewhere around there. So if you do the math, you're getting quantity for value. So, okay. Anyhow, as you can see, also keep in mind that this vehicle also uses one of these. You can get it off of Amazon. There's some things that they sell over at the hardware store or auto parts store. Some auto parts stores may have this. Very, very expensive, of course, because you know how auto parts stores work. You can get this from Amazon probably under $10. Very cheap, very reliable. You will need this. So a lot of the times people say, oh, well, you can get this wrench that tightens as you pull. Not a good thing for these vehicles, so just be very cautious and mindful. I think that sometimes we tend to go with buying local and so forth, but we're really not buying local if we're buying from an auto parts chain, so just keep that in mind. Anyhow, I am going to get ready to do that. I will post another video after this in terms of what I'm doing. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm back here again. Just wanted to kind of show you what's been going on. So I got the vehicle back on those ramps right there. It takes me a little bit of time because I try to be very cautious when I want to get it up there. One of the biggest things to keep in mind is that you have to make sure that aside from the e-brake, you do something like this. I know this doesn't seem like much. I just put a piece of wood back there. All that's going to do is kind of stop it there from rolling backwards in case the e-brake fails. So I'm going to begin and get ready to start doing this. just so you know, I think I did not mention this in the previous video. So this is the kind of filter this vehicle takes. This is a 20,000 mile filter, oil filter for this vehicle that goes internally. The XG9972 Fram Ultra Synthetic filter. Very, very reliable. I personally change it every time that I do an oil change. You don't necessarily have to. The only downfall is that where this thing sits, you'll still have some dirty oil in there. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to start off by getting rid of some of this, some of these things that I need to do. I need to open up the oil cap. It's a little tight sometimes. I don't know if it's pressure or what, but okay. So now it's working. I'm taking it off now. There we go. You can see there's a residue in this oil. It's you can clearly see it's not good anymore. It's dirty and it's got to be changed. So that's what I'm going to do today. Make sure that you find a safe place to put your oil cap at, so it doesn't fall somewhere and then you can't find it. There's a pretty decent spot right there. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna fall through or anything like that, so it'll sit still there. The other thing you want to do is the dipstick. You want to pull it out and just kind of leave it like that for now, and let it some. You know what you're doing with these two methods right here, taking the oil cap off and pulling the dipstick, is you're allowing some airflow, so that way as you begin to drain the oil, it circulates and it's not being held up. It just drains right through. Okay, so let's see here. Now I'm going to this is going to be the last thing I do after the oil pan is fully drained. I'm gonna wait until that's done before I can, go ahead and unscrew the filter. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna grab my little lay down cart here, roll cart. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get down here. Don't forget that you also gotta have some of these things, some of these sockets, because you're gonna need those. Okay, so we gotta make sure that we have the right tools. You can't supplement, things when it comes to this kind of work. You gotta make sure you have the right stuff. If you don't have it, you could always get it somewhere else. You can get it to another auto parts or whatever. But mainly, the biggest thing here is knowing what you gotta do in terms of tools. So I got a nice little ratchet here that I'm going to be using. You don't want to use those air or electrical ratchets when you are taking the plug out of the oil pan. You don't want to basically ruin the thread. So you be mindful when it comes to that. Okay, it's very important. I believe that this vehicle, you may be looking at a 5/8 or 9/16. I'm gonna test those two out. I don't do this all the time, but I think depending on what size plug you have, you may want to utilize those two, because those two are probably one of those two is going to be it. So let's go down here and start making some movement in terms of making sure that you're getting your oil pan underneath. This is not very cheap here, but it does the job. All the oil, once it drains from the oil pan, it goes in here, and then you can seal those two holes right there, and then drain it into one of these containers that I have here. You can take it to your local Walmart place, and they'll dispose of the oil, but they will not dispose of the containers. So you can either reuse the container, bring it back, or you maybe find a place to recycle it, maybe your local waste dump. They might have something like that for some kind of recycling program. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so now that I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the oil pan underneath the vehicle. Just for now, I'm just gonna leave it there. One of the things that I forgot to mention was, or actually not mention, but more so do, is the following. So I got so excited to do this video and I forgot to do my stands. So that's the next step I'm gonna do with it, because I want to ensure that I'm being safe. So it's important to be safe. It's important to not put yourself at risk, just because you know, just because you want to ensure that you're being as careful and as cautious as possible. Okay, that's very fundamental in this kind of procedure. If you don't do this, you know, you could be definitely putting yourself at risk to injury, and even in some situations, you know, finding yourself in a situation where you definitely don't want a vehicle to fall on you. Okay, that's not good at all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually do this. Come down here. Not too worried about getting dirty. It is, the ground's a little wet. But as you can see here, I am going to be placing this right underneath the undercarriage, bringing it up as much as I can. So, right on the chassis. And what's going to happen is, or what would happen if this vehicle was to fall out from these ramps here, then we'd be in a situation where these towers would actually hold the vehicle on the air. So I think many of you know that, but these are kind of ramps that are made out of fiberglass, very sturdy, you know, because as you know, they use resin in these things, but I don't have full trust in them. So just keep that in mind. So you do the same thing for the other side, and you should be good to go to get underneath this vehicle and start the work. Okay, so as you can see here, the plug keeps draining oil out of the filter. So I'm just letting it do its thing. Oil plug, it's just barely dripping, so I may be, you know, cleaning that around there, making sure there's no oil residue. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the plug back in there. This one here, for the oil filter, it's rather interesting that it keeps, you know, it's always nice to have the oil semi-warm because it'll drain a lot easier, and you'll get most of it out of there, especially in this casing where the oil filter is inserted. So just keep that in mind. This is very fundamental to be able to have that option when it's nice and warm. You know, that oil just kind of drips out of there like, you know, like syrup in a sense, but syrup, you know, if it's cold, it doesn't, you know, come out of the bottle as smooth. So this does help. Just keep that in mind. I'm letting it do its thing. I'm letting it continue to drain, and then I'll show you once I get done with all of that there. I'm gonna go ahead and take the filter out here in a little bit, and I will also do a video on that once I get ready to. Alright people, so I'm going to start with this ratchet. Keep in mind that there is not a whole lot of room in here, so if you want to use an extension and so forth, you may want to consider you know, using an extension. The problem with the extension is the following, is that you're not going to get as good grip, and I'll show you that in just a moment here. You're not going to get a very good grip. It's a little more challenging. That's been my experience. So sometimes we do have to try to navigate as much as we can with it, but Make sure, always make sure that this thing's on there good. Oh man, that's hard. All right, so I'm going to stop the video right now, and then I'll come back and resume. All right, so I am now. I was able to loosen it up using the extension. Just make sure that you have this thing on there real good, because it's got those little shavings on that key to take this thing off. And if you don't have it on there right, you could be finding yourself in a situation where you're damaging this casing. So as you can see, now I'm just going to do it by hand. It's already loose. I don't need to use the ratchet anymore. There's oil coming out of it, but there you go, just like that. It's draining. Kind of bad. You can see the O-rings right there. Those I'm going to replace. Same thing with the one on the bottom. I'm going to replace that too. So just wanted to let you know that. Anyhow, thank you for watching. You know, any comments, questions, put them down below the video. Thank you. All right, so clean off this little thing here. Not that I don't like getting dirty or anything, but it just gets uncomfortable after some time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down here, check it out, see what we got going on, what we're working with. As you can see, it is hardly draining at this point. The oil was very dirty. It was almost pitch black. Couple of trips down to you know, California and so forth have really taken its toll on that oil. So now I'm going to just let it keep draining a little bit there. But now I have this new little thing right there. You see that? That is going to be the plug that I gotta take off, and then I'm gonna show you what I have in the filter in terms of to be able to drain it. So let's go ahead and get that started. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open up this nice little Fram 20,000 mile oil filter. I don't really know if it lasts 20,000 miles, but I'm not gonna take a chance on it. Couple of things that it comes with. Let's see here. Pretty much universal in terms of you know, the sizes and so forth. I believe it goes either or way. It should be fine. I mean, I guess if you really wanted to get technical, you could put it up this way and have the writing on the bottom, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. Same design, both ends. I think the most important part is this piece right here, you know. So anyhow, that's that. It also comes with a couple of O-rings. These ones stretch so that you can get them over the actual casing of the part that holds the filter inside. And then it comes with this little plastic piece right here. This plastic piece is going to help us drain the oil filter before we take the whole thing apart. That way we don't make a big old mess. All right, so let's go ahead and break that open. All right, so let's go ahead and break it open here. All right, here we go. This is what we got right here. All right, same thing here. In case you guys can't see that very well. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. So it's gonna go like this to the top. We're gonna screw it on there. Okay, that's why that one piece that I showed you earlier, I have to take that out with my wrench. Sorry, not my wrench, but my ratchet. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and take my socket off this thing, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick it into that piece right there. So let's see if I can get this thing kind of adjusted to where I can show you how I'm gonna do this. Just like that. Let's see here if I can show you a better angle. There we go. Just like that. And now we got to figure out how we're going to open it. See that? It's moving. It's coming off. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my oil pan this way. I'll still leave it some room so that it continues draining over there, but I want to make sure that I have plenty of room for this one to drain as well. So, okay, so as you can see now, it's basically moving by itself now. I'm going to take it out of there, and then take this thing with my fingers out. I know it's a little dark out here. There's not a whole lot of sunlight. You see that right there? See the oil dripping off of it? So I'm just gonna lay it here for now. I'll clean that later. All right, so now that I have that, I am going to go ahead and get my little plug that came with the filter. And this is what we're going to do with it. You see that? That's all we got to do. Now it's gonna drain it all. I didn't even have to screw it all the way in there, which is kind of cool. So I'm just gonna let it drain, and then we'll come back later and I'll show you how to take that big old plug off. All right, so I'm back here again. I am about to get ready to do a Nissan 2018 Altima SR oil change. I have the vehicle already on some stands or some ramps. The ramps are already on there. As you can see below, I have the towers already on there because, you know, safety precautions is important. This car is very low. It sits low. If this thing was to fall on me, don't even want to imagine what would happen. I have a piece of wood in the back to kind of retain it from doing that. I put on the emergency brake as well. Right now I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. This is just the first video that I'm going to do because I'm doing this on my own, so I don't have anybody to hold the camera for me. So just wanted to let you know what I'm doing here now, and we will go from there. All right, so now I'm underneath the vehicle here. I got my oil pan down here as well, and I'm going to be checking to see which actual socket needs to go in here. So all right, so I checked. The 9/16 appears to be it for this plug on the oil pan here. So I'm gonna use the 9/16. Keep in mind that some of these vehicles, especially the foreign imports, these vehicles have you know, nuts and bolts that are metric. So 9/16s, we may be looking at a 14 or 15 metric, but I'm going to use the 9/16 because it has worked well for me in the past, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and use. I have my ratchet, so let's see here. I want to make sure I get this thing right down there. Got my ratchet here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get it ready and start doing that. as you can see, these ramps don't necessarily get the vehicle that much off the ground, but you know, the thing is that if you're big body like me, if this thing falls on you, it's gonna crush something, you know. And the last thing I want to do is have some broken ribs or bruised ribs or anything like that, and it's just not good. Okay, so we're gonna do a clock counterwise on this thing. There we go. See, that was real quick. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and spin it, just in case you guys aren't seeing the actual nut is right there. I've already loosened it, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Continue watching the series of videos because I'm going to be doing plenty of them. I'll also show you how to drain the oil filter in the next video.